Hi, I'm Kayla Coffey with Localites OKC, and this is
Anna Farha, also with Localites.
Yes, my co-host, and we're so excited to be here at Urban Johnnie. We just destroyed some amazing food. It was so good. My favorite was definitely the guacamole, so the next time you come here, you've got to try the guac. Then I had the Rasmanian Devil drink, and as you can see, it is gone. That's how good it was.
So I really liked the Dum Dums. I'm usually not a buffalo sauce fan, but it wasn't overpowering, so I really liked that. And also, if you're ever in this area or if you're just wanting to find a good place to watch a game, like there's just so many TVs, all the different options. It's definitely a great place for watching sports.
Hi, I'm Taylor Lawrence with Visit OKC, and
Hey, I'm Tabbi Burwell and with Visit OKC.
and I had the Pina Rita. I absolutely love this drink. It has pineapple and jalapenos, so if you get this drink, do not ask for it without the jalapenos. It's not as spicy as you think it is. And my favorite thing that I ate was definitely the chips and sauce platter. White queso, salsa, and guacamole, so good.
I had the Johnnie Rancher. It had strawberries muddled in it, so it was really good. A little sweet, but not too much. And then, and I'm a beer drinker, so this is good for me. I almost drink it all. And then my favorite thing was the hummus. I come here often, and so I would definitely recommend the hummus. Comes with veggies and pita bread. So, good choice.
Okay, so now we're here at Anchor Down, and we have Taylor with us who works here. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Taylor Kirby. I'm the bar manager here at Anchor Down. And, yeah.
How long have you been with Anchor Down?
I've been here since we opened, so I guess coming up on 3 years. We opened on the 30th of June. So
Has it been 3 years?
It's been 3 years,
Man,
yeah.
I remember we
I know.
came like right after they opened, or you guys opened.
I know.
A couple weeks after.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but sometimes it feels like I've been here for my whole life, forever. So
That's all there is.
yeah.
I understand.
So for people who maybe have never been to Anchor Down, y'all specialize in corn dogs. And you also have some other great stuff on the menu. Will you tell us a little bit about what we have here?
Yeah, so we have a little bit of everything. We're very specialized. We do corn dogs really well. But then we have several options for loaded tater tots. We have burgers, we have hush puppies, and unfortunately right this second we only have one dessert option. But that should be changing soon. We should be getting a vegan dessert option. And then we're going to be changing up the menu a little bit, probably within the next, I would say, couple of months, to add more vegan options. I think that right this second, that's one of our most popular items. And a lot of people know that we have that, so they come here with that in mind. And so we just want to be able to provide that, I guess. So
It's like a chocolate.
those are just
Or-
strawberry hush puppies.
Okay.
It's like a sweet batter, powdered sugar and strawberries. So they're almost like a strawberry fritter, I guess.
What's your top seller?
So the loaded tater tots are one of the most popular. Our vegan corn dog, it's called a guard dog, is one of the most popular. And then we have a burger on our menu. Just one burger, it's done one way, but that's really, really popular. The last time we redid our menu, we put that on there, and we sell it a lot. It's really, really good. So I mean, it's an onion burger. It's 2 patties. It's pretty great. Yeah.
All right, so Anchor Down is part of a restaurant group. Who are some of your brother sister restaurants?
So the two sister restaurants that we have right this second, the Press, and then the Mule, which is both are in the Plaza District. So, and obviously the Mule, if you've been there, is very specialized in grilled cheese.
Yes, very on brand for the specialization.
Yes, the Press is more. There's more options, but it's also really, really great.
Oh yeah, I've been an excessive amount of times now.
So what's something y'all like about being in Deep Deuce?
I love that we've become a neighborhood bar. I love that all the residential places, all the new apartment buildings that have gone up, we're usually the first place that people hit on their way out at night and the last place that they stop on their way home. We know most people that come in here, we know them by name. We see them, a couple times a week, which is really nice. So I would say just the neighborhood aspect, the fact that we've kind of become the neighborhood bar here. So
we're with Visit OKC. What do you see from a visitor standpoint? Are there a lot of visitors coming in here and asking questions? Because the shipping container is what makes this really unique, and we sell that as a destination. So talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, so we get a lot of people sent over because we have the Aloft Hotel next door. We have a lot of people from out of town that come in. We get people coming in here all the time that are really walking in just because the place looks cool. I think that Deep Deuce is new enough that I think we're going to continue to have newcomers, kind of just visiting or driving past and noticing that we're here. I'm sure that we'll get that for a little while longer until Deep Deuce becomes kind of a bigger go-to spot. Right this second it's in between downtown or, Bricktown and Midtown. And so a lot of people still really don't know that this area exists, and it is pretty small. So I would say that we're going to be getting a lot more traffic through here once people start recognizing, but the fact that we have the hotels and the new people moving in next door, I think that it'll be great for us.
Is it dangerous working so close to Bell Kitchen? Do you eat the donuts all the time? Because I would.
When they first opened, yes. Most of the time when I come in during the day, the whole entire restaurant smells like chocolate chip cookies. So that was dangerous. Now they have different hours. Okay. Their hours are a little, I'm not actually sure what they are. And so, which has been really, really nice. I know that on the weekends they have later hours, but because we open later now and they close earlier, I don't really have the issue like I did when they first came in. So
I drive by the May location all the time, and I'm like, I can stop in real quick.
Oh yeah.
Like
when you walk in and
so
it's
hard.
Like cinnamon rolls and chocolate chip cookies, you're just like, oh man. I mean, it's not a good way to start off your shift for sure.
You work around corn dogs.
You just have to say no to everything. You just have to say no. That's awesome.
One thing I wanted to point out that they do here at Anchor Down is the Lost Ogle Trivia on Thursdays. Do y'all have any other events that you do?
So yeah, we do bingo on Tuesday nights from 8 to 10. Really fun. You win cash prizes and beer and all of those types of things.
Those are all of my favorite things.
Everybody's favorite things. And then Thursday we do the trivia. Wednesday nights we do the Red Coyote Running Club. They do a 5K here every Wednesday. So they start here at 6, run a 5K, come back and drink a free beer. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. It especially in the summer, it brings in a very, very, very large group. So yeah, it's been a little slower, I guess, because of the weather, but it'll pick up and it'll get crazy again.
We are at our third stop, which is the Aloft Hotel in Deep Deuce, which is our district we're in right now, and we're really, really close to Bricktown. So for anyone that's staying in Bricktown or in the area, they can come and enjoy. Their bar is downstairs. It's WXYZ Bar. We are up on the 6th floor right now, and it has amazing views of our city from everywhere you look. We've already taken lots of photos, so check out our Instagram for all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you definitely, if you come up here, you want to check out this patio space behind us. It's a little windy today, so we're not out there right now, but we did go out and brave the elements to get a couple good photos for you, but there's lovely seating out there. And then also the view to come in here. So we walked down this hallway, and we were able to see so many Oklahoma City landmarks. We were able to see Jack Fowler's The Octopus. We were able to see the Skydance Bridge from here. We saw Sonic's headquarters. I have never seen a view like this before. This is my first time being up on 6, and it's really breathtaking.
Yeah, I've been up here when it first opened, and I was at a chamber event actually up here for a sunset reception. And so I know the patio, it's not open in the colder months, obviously, but warming up, and that'll soon be available as well. And they also have a lot of great meeting spaces. I think Taylor can speak to a little more on that.
have gravy.
You say only if you want to. I know I've been to a couple meetings here on the second floor of the WXYZ lounge downstairs, so you can rent that out for private events, and they do bar service up there, and we'll bring up their appetizers, and it's such a really cool space. The views up here are very different from the views down there, so you get more of a, downtown urban street view below, which is still gorgeous. There's still great windows. It still looks lovely, but up here you really get skylines.
Well, I think it's good to mention that the full bar is an experience, but there's also a restaurant here. You can get food, and you can still have that cool experience, but in a hotel atmosphere. But it doesn't feel stuffy. And the best thing about Aloft for me, any Aloft I stay at, but is the smell. I love the smell of these properties. It's really great.
And I'm going to talk about what no one else has talked about, the drinks. I have a strawberry old club special, and it is absolutely delicious. I know the ladies can speak to what they have, but that's what I wanted to talk about was the drink that I'm thoroughly enjoying. So
I am having a pretty water, and it's amazing. So as far as mocktails go, you're winning, but I'm also driving, so it's important to know that they can make something look really good, and it tastes good too.
Also a good Whole30 tip if you're trying to go out and you want to mocktail it up, you can do that. I am having my signature gin and tonic. So as anyone who's fans of Localites knows, that's my favorite drink, but I don't allow myself to have it very often. I usually go with a vodka water, which I had at our last stop, but I am so excited to have this. And Anna, what are you drinking?
I've just stuck with my tried and true vodka water. That is always my go-to at places, and I got it with Tito's here.
Nice.
Also, I did want to mention that this is one of the other stops that's part of Deep Deuce Sessions. And so it's down in the WXYZ lounge area. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure in the summer months it'll be outside as well. But I love that they're one of the participating businesses of that.
Me too. This is such a great anchor space for the district. You can get a hotel room, and you can either start out at this bar and then crawl similar to as we are throughout the other parts of the district, or you can end up here. It's such a wonderful, landing pad for people. And it makes for great Instagram photos. Everything here is picture perfect. Very important.
Here on our fourth stop of our Deep Deuce pub crawl. We are here at Stag Lounge, and with us we have David, who is the bar manager here. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about Stag Lounge and the vibe it has and what you can expect when you come to drink here.
So here at the Stag Lounge, we are a classic craft cocktail bar. We have one of the largest whiskey and scotch collections in Oklahoma City. We are, I believe, the only smoking bar or cigar lounge in Oklahoma City as well. Here we do, a variety of different cocktails, but we specialize in pre-prohibition classic cocktails done correctly.
So if you are like me and you got the pre-prohibition cocktail, can I take a drink? Everybody cool with that? And you were wondering, what does pre-prohibition cocktail mean? What does that mean, Daniel? David? What does that mean, David?
Pre-prohibition was the highlight of the craft cocktail world in the entire world, especially
It's the highlight of my world.
Well, the United States, prior to Prohibition, had the best bartenders, highest trained bartenders. People from all over the world would actually come to America to find a bartender, hire them, bring them back to their home country, to wherever there was they're doing it. They would put a big sign and say, American bartender featured here. We were the end-all, be-all of craft cocktails.
What happened?
Prohibition. Prohibition occurred back in...
I knew the answer.
Yes, so then Prohibition occurred in 1920 and really kind of put a stop to that. Most of those bartenders who had been honing their craft their entire lives ended up having to go underground to speakeasies, or they actually left the States and to start other bars abroad. And this is when we kind of lost track of that roots of those wonderful, craft flavors. We ended up just going to, really basic, really poor bourbon at the time because we didn't have access to a lot of good ones. We stopped being able to use cognac because it left the country. A lot of bathtub gin started occurring. So the entire, craft world ended up taking a huge hit due to Prohibition. And it hasn't been till about till about 2000 and probably 8 is when you started seeing that craft being built back up and being back to where its former glory is.
So speaking of craft cocktails, what is in this delectable drink that you have made for us tonight?
So you're currently drinking the Last Word. Last Word is a pre-Prohibition cocktail. It is essentially a gin cocktail with chartreuse, lime juice, as well as a Luxardo liqueur, cherry liqueur. Luxardo cherry liqueur, absolutely. And that's just going to be a very light, almost like a little bit of a spiciness to it, like a peppery flavor profile to it, but it's very easy to drink.
So with Stag Lounge, can you tell us a little bit about the transition from Whiskey Lounge to Stag Lounge?
It was just kind of a rebrand. The old bartenders here were really great at their job. They really knew what they were doing. We are hopefully living up to what they were at. I think we've been really doing a great job. But we did bring back cigars into this area, so it's now back to being a cigar lounge.
Whereas previously whiskey went smoke-free for a bit.
Smoking establishment. That is correct. We've updated our back bar, so we now carry some of the rarest scotches in the world. We have the only flight of the Glenmorangie Pride Series in the world, and it's, I think, only about 400 bottles were produced of the 1972, and that's it's kind of a legitimate, claim to fame on that one. We've increased our cigar collection since then. We brought in some industrial smoke eaters to make sure that even on busier nights, you can come in and still not be, smoked out of the place.
Mm-hmm. I can speak to that as well for a second. I have asthma, and I did, when I walk in, realize that I did need to go back out to my car, grab my albuterol, take a hit, and now I'm doing perfectly fine. So, that's a testament to how well that's working. It's not smoky. You can't see it. I hope not. I said that. You can't see it in the air. You can still enjoy it if you're a non-smoker.
Excellent. I'm glad. Then we've nailed it.
Yay. Okay. Any final words for us?
No, definitely come check us out. We have one of the better selections in Oklahoma City, at least. This is definitely a destination kind of place. You can come in, relax, enjoy a nice cigar, try a variety of cocktails that you may have not been able to try in a lot of other places. And I guarantee you that I've done them the right way.
Okay. Pop quiz. How do you feel about mezcal?
I like mezcal a whole lot. It's a delicious take on a tequila. It's very nice and smoky.
So you're very excited for your new neighbors to open up?
Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait. It's a new project by Jared Hawley. And every time he's opened up a new bar, it's always done very well. And I look forward to being neighbors with him. I feel like we're going to be able to complement each other very well.
So we are at our last stop of the Deep Deuce Pub Crawl, and today we are joined by Craig Brown, who is the owner here at Deep Deuce Grill. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm old.
You are not old.
And I came here in approximately 1990. And
all right, fair. I wasn't born yet.
well, I said I was old.
That was when I was born.
But at that time in life, I came here to Oklahoma City many years ago and opened a shopping mall called Crossroads Mall.
Oh, we know about Crossroads.
Numerous things, but at one time in life, I got into the demolition business. And I had a small demolition company, and I came to this part of the city.
Deep
I did
Deuce.
some things in Bricktown. I had a haunted house down there at one time that I built, and came on this side of the tracks and found Deep Deuce. And purchased a building on First Street for $9,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
No one wanted it. and
But you
this-
saw its potential.
I saw some potential. I looked at this like it was an island. And that's kind of the way I viewed the area. We were, this at one time was the largest black community in the state of Oklahoma. And this street, Second Street, was the center of the community, very much like New Orleans. And we had, at that time, 6 attorneys, 3 hotels, 4 or 5 brothels.
Because what area is
Lots
complete
of,
without a brothel?
Lots of activity on the street. Aldridge Theater was next door. And this was a huge part of the community. And the black African community was really stationed in this area. They couldn't, Oklahoma was very difficult in those days and had some really horrible laws and whatnot. And they were confined to this part of the city by the railroad tracks to the south and couldn't go east anymore. And it was certainly different times all the way up till really World War II, when things kind of broke loose, when they started to build the highway to Edmond. So this was quite a community at one time. When I got here, it was really a devastating area. It was a very blighted area. It was full of drugs and rough people, and it was a very tough time in the 60s and 70s here.
That's a lot of our districts seem to have started out that way. I know you kind of hear that story with Plaza District, and then they've come out of that and cleaned it up, turned it around.
So what made you want to open Deep Deuce Grill here?
Well, no one else wanted the area.
Love the honesty.
When did you all open?
90.
Oh, wow.
And actually, this area was Stanton Hill Young and the city wanted this area to be all hospital, and
It almost is.
it almost is. And I thought of it as a community development area again, because it once was where many people lived. Mm-hmm. And it took me several years, about 15 years. It was this was a rough area, and
You stuck it out.
I did. I stuck it out, and the Deep Deuce Grill here was the first building that I purchased on 2nd Street, and I acquired most of the land, and then it was a real fight for about 10 years to try to turn this into a community development again. And that's kind of what got it started. And then I got the apartments here started, and downtown, all of a sudden it grew.
So that's your fault.
Pardon?
So that's your fault. I was making a joke.
Well, I didn't know what else to do. I was stuck here. So I tore down some buildings and cleaned up the area, and eventually things kind of formed, and Deep Deuce got back on target. So
What do you think about what Deep Deuce has become now?
it's a community what I thought I wanted to make it.
So it turned out what you envisioned it to be.
It is. It took a long time and a lot of hard work.
I was going to say, did you think it would take this long or think it would happen faster?
I did think it would take this long.
So you knew what you were in for.
I worked for a major developer in the East called the Rouse Company out of Columbia, Maryland in my young youth. And I'll never forget going back there and speaking with Jim Rouse, who was major developer of many areas in the United States. He said it's going to be a 10-year project, and he didn't lie. He knew, and it turned out to be a 10-year project. Now, it's certainly, did I really expect it to be as huge as it is now? No. But I talked to 17 developers and begged them to build apartments here, and everybody turned me down.
Wow.
And finally, I got
Now
her.
they're
So
regretting
crazy.
it.
Well, now they pay a little more for the property.
So they came around just later than you hoped.
That takes a long time. It takes a long time, and our city's changed tremendously because of so many different things, like the bombing and I'm trying to think of the major disaster that occurred in Texas, the flooding and all down there. How we ended up getting the basketball team here and everything else. A lot of adversity, and all of a sudden, things turned around, changed.
All the MAPS programs really contributed.
Unbelievable. You could no more see that in those days than fly. You had to kind of work your way through. I was with a fellow this evening, Michael Laird, and a local attorney, and we were talking about 95 and whatnot. We hadn't seen each other just a half hour ago in 20 years, and I was laughing about how things had changed so much. But Deep Deuce is, this was the last building that was on the street, and tremendous heritage right here with the Deep Deuce Grill. This was Jimmy Rushing, the great jazz singer. Mr. 5x5 grew up in this building. His father built this building in 1919.
Wow.
And then Dr. Haywood, a very famous doctor, there were 3 major doctors on this street and a hospital. He took this building over in the late 40s, and we called it the Haywood Building. It's on the National Register. And when I first got here, this building was the only thing that was open. A little half of the building was Henry's Snack Bar, who had a counter with 6 seats by it. And I had sat down there and his wife would make pies. I'm trying to think of the potato pies. Sweet potato pie.
Oh, that's my favorite.
And he'd sell those around the neighborhood. But I can remember when we had, in an 8-block area here, 8 blocks is a good bit of space.
Yeah.
3 people lived. 3 people lived in this area. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not 2,
Especially today.
3.
Well, and we'll hand it over to Taylor to ask about kind of the image of this area for people who are visiting.
Let me get this. So I love the history of Deep Deuce. I personally have read a lot about the history of Deep Deuce. But for a visitor coming in, I know you talked about what it was in the past, but how would you describe the feeling and the vibe of Deep Deuce today?
It's an active civic community with a lot of people living here now. Although tremendous heritage here, and as far as I'm concerned, we've bypassed it. The heritage of this community of the past is totally unbelievable, with people like Ralph Ellison, the great writer, Jimmy Rushing, Charlie Christian. This was one hell of a community. And today, it's really not knowledgeable to people about the musicians. Everybody who was anybody ended up in Oklahoma City. This was kind of like the end of the line. And the bands and whatnot would get started in New York, and go either the southern route or the eastern or northern route, and end up in. It stopped here in Oklahoma City. They didn't go further west. So all these musicians came here, and all the big band leaders. There was a tremendous high school here, and a teacher who was fabulous, and just great jazz musicians came out of here. Anita Arnold is a researcher in the area, but a fellow by the name of Craig McKinney wrote a fabulous book on Deep Deuce. He was an attorney in Kansas City. The only trouble is, I think the book cost about $80 or $90. It's in paperback. Wow. And nobody can afford to purchase it, I think. And it should be all over the city, because it really, if you love history, there's just a tremendous amount of history on the Deuce. And you said there's a lot here, but we just don't share it. Mm-hmm. I'm not kidding you. This was just like New Orleans and I wasn't living here then, but in the 20s and 30s, this was the cat's meow. This street rock and roll. Oh, it really did. So it's I look at the Deuce a little differently than some people.
Than most people would.
Than most people, because they just don't. It's I've been around the Deuce too long, I think.
Well, we are so thankful for your contributions. I don't think we'd be doing this crawl today had you not bought this building and invested the time and really stuck with it.
Well, thank you. I hope I didn't. I hope I contributed somewhat to the area, and it's great that you're all here checking out the neighborhood and the people living here again. It's just fantastic.
We're
Downtown
happy to do
movement
so.
has finally
finally
come on
here.
board.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to say about Deep Deuce Grill, or what people can expect when they come here?
Yes.
People like it, and we've been around a while, and I have a great staff. I'm not a restauranteur, but I get to. Luckily, I have people who know this business. It's a tough business, and we've been very, very lucky, and we have a great patio and great clientele. So I feel very fortunate in my youth here.
Well, and you all also do trivia on Thursday nights.
What they do trivia on Thursday night. We're all packed tonight.
Yeah,
and that's great. I like that.
Are there any other events you all participate in?
We do. We have a big Christmas crawl that we do. That's very big.
For that. It was a lot of fun. Big party out back.
We have different functions. We've had many different functions, community functions. This is more about community than it is Deep Deuce Grill, I guess. I just think it's great that people are living downtown, moving downtown, having fun, getting out. The people are they're enjoying the city. We're right next to Bricktown, and our city's getting larger. The only thing is our traffic's getting a little bit tougher these days. You know what I mean?
Parking.
Well, and y'all also have a great patio.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for inviting us upstairs. We didn't even know there was an upstairs. If you see these lovely red couches.
This is kind of my office up here, and I have an apartment on the other side, but I never use it. And
you should turn it into an Airbnb. You'd make some money from that for sure.
Well, I've been lucky.
Well, we appreciate all the hard work you've done.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks so much for hosting us.
Thank you.
So we have just wrapped up our Deep Deuce pub crawl. Again, I'm Anna with Localites OKC.
And I'm Kayla, also with Localites OKC.
And I'm Taylor with Visit OKC.
So we started out at Urban Johnnie, and it was great. We got to talk to the owner, try some different food, and moved on to
Anchor Down. We got to have some corn dogs, a couple cocktails. It was a really good time. We really appreciate them for hosting us.
And the loaded tots were amazing.
Yes, they were.
And then we got to experience all the amazing views at WXYZ.
Oh, it was.
An Aloft hotel up on the 6th floor. great views, especially for sunset. We had perfect timing for that.
I know.
Then we moved on to Stag Lounge, which is where we're in front of again right now, and got to visit with David and talk about all of the different inspirations they have of pre-Prohibition era cocktails and everything they're trying to do to bring back that kind of classic cocktail movement to Oklahoma City.
Then we were so excited to cap things off at Deep Deuce Grill. We were so thankful for Craig to invite us upstairs. They've got a cool little private area up there where their office space is. We got to sit on their red leather couch and really talk about the history that Deep Deuce has to it. And it was really great to see that perspective, have some of their wonderful cocktails, their amazing dip. Oh, that enchilada dip. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, that was great.
So good. And we've just had so much fun hanging out in this district.
So we just wanted to thank Uncovering Oklahoma for inviting us to be along for this ride, and it was great to meet you, Taylor.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you to all the businesses for hosting us, letting us come out and intrude on your space. I know you guys have a lot of customers. So many of these places were so busy, and they still made space for us and let us record in here, and we are so thankful for that.
Yeah, everyone was super accommodating, and we really appreciate it, and we look forward to doing things like this again in the future.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
So be sure to like, subscribe, and share this from Uncovering Oklahoma. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Localites OKC.
Yes, you can also listen to our podcast. So we are a podcast wherever you get your podcasts at. It's also just search Localites OKC.
And also Visit OKC, also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thank you again.